Valentine's Day calls for a special dessert, and if you're making a Valentine's dinner for someone you love, you want to make it really special. Who doesn't love a warm chocolate cake? This is the kind that oozes out in the middle when you cut it open. It's called a warm pudding cake is what we're calling it, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Ingredients are simple. What you need is some dark chocolate that you can buy at the grocery store, about 72% cocoa, so not too sweet, some unsalted butter. We've got whole eggs and we've got egg yolks, and if you need a refresher on how to separate eggs, check out the how-to video on Foodelle for separating eggs so you can get a good egg yolk for your product. We've got plain all-purpose flour and we've got granulated sugar. I'm using actually a caster sugar, which is just a more finely ground sugar, but regular granulated sugar will work just fine. You can use these pastry molds that you can get at gourmet cooking stores. You can use plain ramekins like that, very simple. Or you can even use little pie tart tins. These are disposable tins that you can buy at your grocery store. Okay, I've got whole eggs. We're going to put this right in the mixer. You can do this by hand with just a big whisk if you don't have a mixer, or even a handheld mixer works well. I've got whole eggs. I've got egg yolks. This will add a little extra richness, just what we need for a good Valentine's dessert. And then I've got sugar, and we're going to add that right in the same bowl. I'm going to wait on the flour. I'm going to fold the flour in at the end, so we'll just set that aside for now. I'm going to turn on my mixer on medium speed, and I want to beat it until it becomes a very light color, and we'll show you that as soon as it's finished. But while that's beating, I want to keep an eye on my chocolate and my butter so that it doesn't get too hot and seize, and in the meantime, I'm going to butter my molds. I'm just going to use my fingers and rub the butter all around the inside. What this is going to do is allow you to unmold the cake very easily. You'll be able to just turn it upside down and the cake should drop right out onto the plate. My molds are buttered. I'm going to check on my chocolate and butter. It is melting nicely. If you can see in there, look how much meltage is going on. I'm going to take this off of the heat, because it looks to me like it's almost done. My water got a little warm, so it's going really fast. I'm just going to mix it nicely to make sure the butter is melted and that the butter and chocolate are really well incorporated. But look how nice and silky smooth that is. That's exactly what you want when you're melting chocolate. Okay, my chocolate and butter are nicely melted and the butter is just about finished melting into the chocolate. That's great. I'm just looking at my eggs and my egg yolks. It's still very yellow. I want to beat it until it becomes a paler color. So paler than when you started, and I'll show you the color as soon as it's finished so you know what to look for when you make this yourself. I'm stirring the chocolate and the butter. My chocolate melted very quickly, but my butter was still in nice hard chunks because it had just come out of the refrigerator. So I'm just stirring it off of the heat. No heat needed anymore since the chocolate is already melted. I'm just stirring it and the butter is just melting right away into the chocolate. I'm getting a beautiful smooth result. It's going to be delicious. Okay, my eggs, my egg yolks, and my sugar are nicely beaten. They've gotten fluffy and they're much lighter in color than when I started. You want them lighter than the egg yolk color. And I'm going to now add my melted chocolate and butter to this, and I'm going to keep stirring just to incorporate everything. Okay, my chocolate and my eggs and egg yolks and sugar are all nicely incorporated. I'm going to take this out now and have a good look and give it a good stir. Now just for reference, it took about 5 minutes for my eggs and egg yolks being beaten at medium speed to get to the right color. So be a little patient. It takes sometimes a little longer than you think. You do just want it to be a lighter yellow basically than what you started with the yolks. This looks delicious. I think I could just get a spoon and eat it like it is. We don't even need to cook it. But we won't. All right, I've got my chocolate mixture here. I'm just going to fold in the flour. This is just all-purpose flour. To do that, I'm going to sprinkle it on top. I'm going to use a spatula to just go under the pudding mixture and then turn it over. You're folding. You're going under and fold it over on top. What the real reason you're doing this for is that you just don't want to agitate it too much. You want to keep that, that air that's been beat into the eggs, and you don't really need to mix it up too much. You don't want to agitate the flour. It'll all get tough like a cake if you over whip it. So we're just gently folding in the flour just until you can't see it anymore. Okay, our chocolate batter is all nicely incorporated. I don't see any flour specks anymore. I was very gentle with it, trying to be. Now I'm going to ladle it into my molds. And I say ladle because I like to use a ladle because otherwise I'll make a big mess. Any kind of big spoon works fine. Just pouring it in can be a little bit treacherous. Okay, you want to fill it up actually all the way to the top. Maybe just slightly below the top just to make it easy for us. This looks yummy. Once all your molds are filled, I'm just going to put them on a baking tray and put them in the refrigerator. It's really important that you chill this mixture really well. That way when you bake it, you'll be sure to have a nice gooey center, because really the gooey center is just an undercooked portion of the cake. So I'm going to leave it in the refrigerator for at least an hour, but the good news about this dessert is you can make it a whole day ahead. Just put it in the refrigerator, cover each ramekin or each of your molds up with a little plastic wrap, leave it in the refrigerator for 24 hours. It only takes about 10 minutes in the oven, so you can even bake it as soon as dinner is finished. So it's a great, great last-minute dessert where all the work has already been done. Okay, I made my chocolate pudding cakes about 3 hours ago, and they've been in the refrigerator ever since. I've popped them in the oven at 350 degrees, and they've been in for 10 minutes. I want to check them and see if I think they're done. If they're overcooked, they're still going to taste great. They just won't have that ooey gooey center that we're looking for. So let's have a quick look. I've got two different molds, but they both look delicious. They've raised up just a bit above the sides. I'm shaking them just a little, and it looks like there's just enough movement. I'm going to take them out, and we're going to plate it up and serve dessert. Okay, the time that your pudding cake spends in the oven all depends on how big your mold is. So just keep checking it. If it's really soft and gooey, you can always serve it directly from the ramekin. You don't have to turn it upside down. But let's give that a try. Now, I've let mine cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. It's still going to be nice and warm in the center, but I'm thinking that it'll set up a little bit better and it'll have more success of coming out in one piece on the plate. So hold your ramekin and turn your plate right upside down and turn the whole thing at once. Say the magic words abracadabra, and we hope that it's nicely buttered in there and it's going to pop right out just like it did. Isn't that nice? Okay, now to decorate that, I've got a little bit of powdered sugar. Just going to sprinkle right on top. You know, powdered sugar is always something good to keep on hand if you're making desserts because it makes everything look pretty. I've got a nice big scoop of vanilla ice cream. I love to serve chocolate cake with vanilla ice cream. Maybe it's not a very big scoop, but it's nice sized. Okay. And I've got raspberries. Raspberries add such great color. Raspberries and a mint leaf. Can't go wrong with that. Just tie it all together with the ice cream, the warm chocolate cake, nice colors, beautiful dessert. Your Valentine is going to love you. Now there's just one more thing we need to do. We need to taste it. Make sure we did a good job. Oh, it's delicious. It's not oozing out, but it is nice and soft and moist in the center, and it's just going to be absolutely perfect. Bon appetit.